on the line in the sand on the lever topic. I have a whole video on that. If you guys haven't seen it, you definitely need to catch up, because today we are going to be reading some actual insanity, and I'm not using that word like hyperbolically. Some crazy comments about this topic on the last video. These are some of the most aggressive comments I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen more comments held before automatically by YouTube. Before we start, I want to say a few things. One, that a lot of the comments on this video are getting held. This is like a common recurring theme, and the detractors on the video continue to accuse me of like deleting people's comments. I've not done that once on this comment section. I'm going to show you too. I think I can actually show you every single comment that gets left, but a lot of these will not appear on the video. So I just wanted to clarify that now. This is happening because you're leaving like very aggressive comments from what I could tell. I don't really know why YouTube does this, but this is a like relatively common issue on YouTube. I think if you have some kind of cycle of wording and speech that seems like either hateful or negative or something that might not be like appropriate in California, YouTube decides to just not allow anybody else to read it. Like, you're still allowed to leave the comment, but you're not allowed to be read by anybody else, basically. But I can't do anything to solve that. Like, I can't get the comment to appear. It's not on me. Usually it's excessive language, but I have seen a lot of comments with excessive language that come through too. So I really don't understand that part. Just wanted to clarify that. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was actually about the topic itself. If you're really worked up about this, like if you're one of these people who left, like there's dozens of comments that are like really angry, and then I respond angrily, and then they double down on the anger. Like this is exactly what I expect you to do, okay? This is exactly what probably Blizzard expects you to do. Even if they actually ban 0 people, you're starting to see the trickle-down effect of this statement that they've made right now. And this is really ironic, because this is something I've been encouraging people to engage in for a long time. When people behave poorly in a Mythic Plus setting, or even just a video game, or even just in life in general, the reason they might continue to do so is because they're not receiving any negative feedback from it. This is just like how our brain works, right? So if you treat other people like trash, and everybody just assumes this is always going to happen, and you walk away from it, you're never going to feel like you did anything wrong. Even if you should psychologically know you did something wrong, you will eventually be conditioned to believe that that's not anything wrong being done. So I've been encouraging people to whisper people. I've been encouraging people to tell them that what you're doing is unacceptable. And that's all you really needed to do. You just needed to go in, let them know that they are doing something that you and other people in that group find unacceptable. And if they continue to hear that, like imagine if they leave 50 keys a year, and every one of those times 4 people all whisper them saying what they did was something that they shouldn't be doing. You think they're going to keep doing that? Like, that's just basic psychology. You don't even need to understand much about the brain to know that they're not going to want to keep doing that after all of that. And this is literally what Blizzard has done, and they did it so much stronger than any of us could ever do. So thank you very much for Blizzard. After 8 years of literal silence, actually you can even say not silence, they basically said that they did not look at pugging as a Mythic Plus avenue to be like a viable way to do the content. I think they were trying to convince people to not pug, but it's just not really going to happen. It's perfect pug content. It really is the best pug content in all of their games. So it's good to see that they finally care about this. But yeah, just literally making that statement, even if 0 people were banned, you can see the gears working now. Some of these comments you can tell are agitated, like they're actually worked up because Blizzard said something. Like, they may not even be banned themselves, right? Like, there's no evidence that anybody was banned. If anybody out there has any actual evidence, or like a screenshot of email, it doesn't really matter, anything that you can find, please send that to me too. I would really like to talk about that. But also, if you guys are running into situations, like I'm gonna have a video come out soon as well, where it's a very specific situation because of what Blizzard said, because of this fear of ban, please send me these things, all right? A lot of people on this comment section are also saying that, you know, these extreme examples that they have and that they're thinking are now unfair are happening to them regularly enough to be bringing them up. I really don't understand this part. So all I can say to you guys, if you are regularly running into these situations that you claim you are, then please, you need to prove this to me. You need to record these runs and send them in, okay? It's very simple to do. If you have any questions about recording, let me know. But I'm just not seeing these things myself, and as such, you know, after 8 years of talking about this, I cannot identify this specific case as an issue. So I would need to see it firsthand. But let's get right to the comments, because a lot of it's going to make a lot more sense when you read some of these. So just to pull back the veil even further on this topic, this is what it looked like when I look at the comments here. Like if I look at it on my dashboard, There's a filter automatically on. I haven't responded to the comments. This is how I do it basically. Like if there's a comment I haven't responded to, it shows up here and I read it, okay? Then there's this button here, this tab here. This is like what I could imagine to be like things that might be offensive, but I might want to watch and read anyway. I don't know. Nothing ever shows up here, okay? Now we're going to show you guys the actual comments that people are continually saying that I am hiding or something like that. But yeah, right out of the gate here, we had this was like super early into the video being live. I thought that like pinning the comment would be good for the health of the video because I knew there was going to be a lot of like agitated people coming in. So I'd hoped that most of it would just be contained in this one comment. I was very wrong about that. But yeah, this guy says the streamer like any other is the problem. Like, what do you mean like any other? What, like every streamer is the exact same person? I bet there's probably a lot of people offended out there by that, right? Like, anyway, if I join a pug with the DPS doing less DPS than me, I kick me. Simple. Love that. Fucking love that comment. Great way to start the video. It really does encompass all their arguments. Everybody who's a detractor on this is basically just saying, if somebody else doesn't play exactly as I want, I'm never going to play with them. Those freaking idiots, I'm way better than them. I love how all these people come out of the woodwork after this announcement and basically expose themselves as leavers. Right, that's the whole video. Literally the whole video says. It's actually crazy like how this has stirred this pot up. Like, what do you call it? Like kicking the beehive or something like that. Like that's exactly what's happened. And I'm so grateful for Blizzard to do this for multiple reasons because like they should be doing this. I'm really glad that they are potentially taking this serious, but I'm fucking grateful for this because it's been like the most fun thing to watch unfold for a long time. He says same old tired excuse that they tell themselves to try and excuse their garbage personalities and attitudes. Here's hoping that Blizzard actually starts handing out bans to these chumps, but it's Blizzard, so I ain't gonna hold my breath. Yeah, we'll stop there. But yeah, I really agree with that statement about like same old tired excuse. Like it's really just cope. Like I try not to use that word because it's become this weird buzzword nowadays, but like it really is. Like you're just making a coping mechanism here. You know you're a bad person. You know that what you're doing is upsetting other people, but you're trying to justify it. And there's going to be a lot of comments like that. So let's get to it. This is typed, right? And then look at the response. Like this is exactly what he's talking about. Literally exactly what he's talking about, all right? He says, found the guy who bought all 10s and now gets mad when people won't carry him and his 1.2 million DPS. This is exactly what he's literally exactly what he's talking about. It's actually kind of scary. Like I really wish that there was like some high level psychological study done on World of Warcraft players because this is said, right? This comment is said here, and then the next reply to the person is somebody doing exactly what he's saying he's noticing being done. Like it's crazy. This guy says players can leave for any reason they see fit. You can't force people to play with you. Yeah, there's been a lot of comments like this over the years, and now all I can say is Blizzard disagrees with you. I don't know what to tell you. Blizzard literally told you what reasons you're allowed to leave for, so I don't know how you disagree with that at this point. You can try to call their bluff. There's been a few people who have done that, and yeah, you're honestly not wrong to try to do that because yeah, like even the other person said, Blizzard's not famously great at doing this, but is it worth it? Like, why is it worth it to you? Like, do you really not care about your account enough that like a couple extra minutes in a key or just like being a good human being in a key and talking about potentially stopping instead of just doing it? That's really all you would ever need to do, right? Like a lot of these cases that keep getting brought up are just simply you caring more about yourself than the rest of the group and not even trying to like convince them of that position. You just take action, right? Like, okay, it's one thing to be selfish, but if you genuinely think that the key should not continue, then why don't you just talk to them about that? Why don't you just make your case for that? Like everybody treats this like so anti-socially and it's really kind of scary to see it. So the response to that comment was they can, but in Mythic, the content is designed for you to stay in the group. This is Blizzard reminding you not to be impatient pricks. Now this guy's going to become famous after this video. If you are bad at the game and refuse to learn simple mechanics, you deserve getting carried by a better players, or if they don't carry you, you ban them. BF3 server admin abusers in this comment section, LMA. I mean, I literally don't even know what this guy's saying, so. This guy's responding to the first comment. He says, the streamer who calls out BS behavior is the problem, not the moron who thinks he is within the 1% pinnacle of gamers when he is not even close and ruins the game experience for everyone else because derp, you guys suck and I don't, so I'm leaving. I also think a lot of these people are pretty low-key pushers. There's a couple people who are like trying to like, you know, strong arm me into thinking they're better than me in this conversation. But I do think a lot of these people are talking about like low ass keys, like keys that are kind of the Wild West and always have been. It feels like we're doing this weird dance in the community right now because we're going over topics and conversation points that I felt like we've already covered years ago. Low keys are a mess. We got dozens of videos on it. Sometimes people suck, sometimes people are great, but they're so freaking easy that you can always succeed in them, right? That's kind of been the central theme of this video, right? I've been making videos on this topic for years now. But somehow these people are like walking into this conversation super late and they're just not realizing that, like, yeah, you can suck in low keys and still upgrade keys, right? There's not an excuse to be calling each other things and leaving keys over it. You know what I mean? Like, if you did the behavior that some of these people are saying that they're doing, I would literally be making a video on you. That's how the channel has worked for years. So it's really strange to see a lot of people walk into this conversation and not know that. It makes me think there is a lot of new players doing Mythic Plus and maybe doing Mythic Plus for the first time ever. So I think that could be a part of why this has gone on and why this has gotten to this point. But here's another guy who leaves a lot of comments like this. Dog shit is not acceptable. Believing other are here to carry your low Raider IO ass is not acceptable. Now, we said this in the video, and I just also should clarify that I did not do a very good job of articulating my point. I did a much better job on the live stream the other day, but I will just shortly summarize what I meant to say. I meant to say that if everybody is the same score, Blizzard believes you're all the same competency level. And you're trying to prove to Blizzard that you're not the same competency level, and they just aren't going to care about that. Whether or not you think somebody who's 3K when you're 3K is way, way worse than you because they got carried, because they bought a boost, because they have friends who can't, like, whatever the excuse you have for it is, you're not wrong, necessarily wrong. But Blizzard doesn't care. That's not how it works. The system is there for a reason. It rewards you doing something, objectively rewards you, right? There's no subjective nature to score. People look at parses, people look at DPS over healer, over tank, and interrupts, and all this other stuff. That's not what score is measuring, and that's what I was trying to say to you. If you believe that this is some valid excuse to act this way, Blizzard doesn't care. Otherwise, they would have a subjective score. They would have some score that measures that, right? So yes, it is acceptable. Dog shit is acceptable. This is how the game works. You will be a better player if you realize this is how the game works. And this is why I got brought up, because it's like, they're not low Raider. Like, what are you talking about? Are you doing keys with people significantly lower than you? When I made the video originally, I was like, nobody does that, right? But I forgot, of course, there is a group of people who do that. You know where they do it? Fucking low keys. Of course, it's low keys. Everybody talking about this in this way is doing low keys. This is exactly what's going on. A bunch of like mediocre players are going into content with way worse players, and then they're like mad at them for being bad at the game. It's like, bro, just don't fucking do the key with them. If you sign up to a key and you see somebody who's 2,800 when you're 3K, that should be notable to me. I do that all the time. I literally always see, I was like, oh, this guy's might be a target of our interest in this. This guy's way a big outlier. And guess what? Like 9 times out of 10, the guy's like unnoticeable. Like you can't even make any discernible difference between him and someone else. But this is kind of my response to all these people. And I'll say it again. I'll say it now. I'll say it for the rest of the time. If you make a comment like this, you fucking suck at this game. You very, very, very likely suck at this game. Or you're brand new. One of the two. Because if you think that in especially a situation where this guy is likely doing a low key, that you can't carry a few people and still succeed in there, then you really just aren't very good at the game. That's just how it works. That's just how it works. If you watch any of these videos, you will know whether or not somebody's good or bad. It just really doesn't matter. It's just about whether or not they keep going after that. So yeah, dog shit literally is acceptable. We've proven this many times on this channel. It's not acceptable to you because you think you're better than you are, and you're not. I'm sure the game can prove that to you if you just look at your global ranking as well. But anyway, yeah, this is my statement. This is my reply again. If you behave this way, you are worse than the people that you're criticizing. And if you disagree with me now, you will have to prove that to me, okay? Anybody who is going to reply to this comment is now going to get my reply back to them with this statement right now. Prove to me that you are an exceptional player among a sea of unexceptional. Prove to me that you are regularly in keys with people who are doing such a poor job that you cannot continue with them. I will need proof of that. The comment did attract like the right crowd though. These are the people that I was hoping to catch up with this comment. Unfortunately, it's not keeping them isolated to it. So now they're attacking me as a person because I'm responding harshly to what they're saying. We'll read a lot of these people's comments, but this guy, so I'm reading the comments on like the actual YouTube app, right? And I have no idea what this guy's talking about. He literally keeps saying this. He says this in like 5 or 6 different comments. He says, are you going to just pretend that you're not a lever? He says this like multiple times, right? So I have no idea, but this guy's too fucking stupid to realize that you're not allowed to post a link, okay? So this guy's trying to post a link of the video that honestly blew up because it was the first video Grawl looked at when he watched the spreadsheet, when he like did the review back in that video's got like 500,000 views, and that was the first thing he looks at, right? That was the time when I was in the other side. It was the Chronic Week, which is incredibly hard in Season 1 of Shadowlands. You guys will remember how hard Season 1 was. I asked the druid to take trees. He said he would. Looking back on this, I think maybe there was some misunderstanding of what I asked him to do, but he had it. We start the dungeon, and he doesn't have it anymore. So I don't know if I convinced him to accidentally not take it. I don't really know. I still don't know what actually occurred there, but one way or the other, I was really, really mad because at the time, it seemed like this was like multiple weeks into the season. It seemed like everybody agreed tanking was the limiting reagent on the roll. Blood Death Knight was in a terrible state, and you know, this guy had an opportunity to help me help him, and he chose not to do it, to be like selfishly trying to get a little bit more DPS. So that really, really, really angered me. I was very aggressive in that key, very negative in that key. I didn't leave the key. I don't know if he thinks I said I was going to leave the key. Sometimes I talk about it on the channel on stream because I'm streaming. You know what I mean? I'm not actually going to do anything about the things I'm commenting on. Like, people say this a lot to me, like, you know, you're very toxic, you're bashing this guy in the middle of the dungeon and stuff like that. It's like, I'm just talking on my live stream, bro. I'm reacting to something that's happening in front of me. This is how you live stream. If you've never done it before, this is very normal. Just because I'm saying these words on YouTube does not mean I'm going to type these words in the video game. You do those things in the video game, then yeah, you're toxic. That's creating a toxic atmosphere in your group, and that's going to lead to a disband. But me commenting on it, like, what if I was just thinking it, you would think it was toxic? Like, I can't not do that. That's part of the live streaming. I would say I probably left like 4 or 5 keys total in 8 years. One of them that was really bad was this Warlock was just constantly commenting on literally everything I did. He wasn't even really being that like negative or hateful, but he was just like, why did you death grip there? That was ultimately the straw that broke the camel's back. Why are you tanking here? Why are you doing that? Why would you interrupt when my interrupt was up? Like, just constantly backseating the entire run. So I left that key. That was very early on in Legion. That was probably like season 1 or 2 of Legion. Then I just never really left a key in Legion because there was no reason to. You always had Titan Forging. But as things got more and more heels in the sand kind of thing, I started to realize, like, you know, you shouldn't ever leave keys. So it's just become part of who I am. So yeah, are you going to pretend you're not a leaver? I'm not pretending. It's like literally a fact. I have every single run documented on the channel, and I've never left first more than maybe a few times. But yeah, here's the reply to that. Don't worry, he's another closed-minded guy that doesn't see the bigger picture. And to say that, I mean, bro, do you know I've been talking about this for 8 years? Do you know I have probably thousands of hours of footage on this channel talking about this topic? You really think that I'm a closed-minded guy that doesn't see the bigger picture? Where did you people come from? Do you know anything about this channel? I assume the video is just catching a lot of new eyes. Because there's a lot of comments like this, like talking about, like, I know more than you about Mythic Plus pugging. It's like, are you sure? Like, how can I be sure that you do? Because I have a lot of experience with it. He says this new ban system will become a hostage situation for people that know what they're doing, but the rest don't, and lead to whips. It will also be 100% abused. You can leave a key for any good reason, and you will still have a chance for a suspension. First of all, we'll start with the final part. You can leave a key for any good reason and you will still have a chance for suspension. It literally fucking tells you what the reasons that you should continue to leave keys for. It literally tells you. So whether or not you disagree with them or not, there's no ambiguity on that part. Blizzard has objectively stated reasons that leaving keys are not a problem. So if you don't leave keys for that reason, then you should be concerned, okay? So no, you can't leave a key for any good reason. That's not how it works anymore. And yeah, you will have a chance for suspension when the group doesn't agree to stop. Now, I don't know how they're going to interpret that. That's the big issue, but it's very clear. Like, that's the gray area, but the clear solution is to have multiple people all agree to stop, right? People keep talking about this, like, vote to stop thing, and you don't need that. Just get 3 out of the 5 people to say they want to stop, and that's probably fine. Blizzard's not going to ban anybody when a majority of the group says they don't want to continue. If one guy wants to continue at that point, then everybody else can just leave. Like, that doesn't matter, right? This whole, like, hostage thing already is so stupid, too. Like, so many people self-report on this. Like, there is no such thing as being a hostage in a group you willingly signed up for. One way or the other, you chose to join the group, okay? If it's not going how you expected, that's your problem, okay? If somebody is behaving in a way that is making the key impossible, like they're griefing or doing something that is actually stopping progression, that's already actionable, okay? That's the only way this could happen. There's no such thing as like, oh, this player is so bad, I never would have been able to predict this player so bad, and I'm not going to waste my time in it, but now I'm forced to stay because if I leave, I might get banned. That doesn't exist, because that would have to exist in a great many keys. That's the quote Blizzard used. If you leave a great many keys, then you will be actioned. Does this happen in every key you're in? If so, it may be you. You may be the problem here. Just the fear of potentially getting banned will make people leave less, which is a good thing. You sign up to a group content. It can't just be a me mentality all the time. Really well said. This is really just the only comment that needs to be read by anybody here. Summarize pretty much every one of my thoughts in one very short statement. It's group content, and I really don't think a lot of people understand that. They really don't even care, I think. But if you behave as a group and you actually care about your teammates, you'll see way more success, like I said. It's really not even that surprising that people react this way because they don't even care about other people in this game. Like, I don't think they actually regard each other as human beings. The way I always say it is like, go and look for one example of this in any type of competitive team environment. For me, it's professional sports. It doesn't necessarily need to be, but for me, it's professional sports. Go find an example of where players are not succeeding or not matching expectations and see how they respond to it. You're just a bad teammate, right? And we don't want you. Nobody else wants you as a teammate. You are creating this situation for yourself where like it's you versus everybody at this point. Like nobody wants a player like that as a teammate. Now this guy makes an interesting point here. He says people can ninja in and out of raids as they please. I mean, you literally say why this isn't a problem in the next statement. He says, I know this doesn't brick the raid, but more times than not, once a tank or top DPS drops, it becomes a house of cards. Yeah, but you can just reform. Like, you can't reform a Mythic Plus. That's the reason that that's an issue, okay? If everybody leaves a Mythic Plus, then the key's over. There's no way to continue it. Anyway, he says, here we are again. Everyone is complaining about Mythic Plus, like always, really. So they have to do something to look like they care about the 99%, which is honestly not wrong. Like this is probably them trying to just put out fires like we always talk about. He says, yet everything that they do in the system has only ever cared about the top 1%. That's a really weird like turn on that. You were right and now you're being weird about it. Blizzard literally makes dozens of changes for low keys. Like I don't understand that comment. Anyway, he says ultimately this is a scare bluff, and I actually do agree. Like I said, if nobody gets banned for this, this still hit the mark. Anton says, we don't know specifics about how they implemented detection and suspension, but they at least acknowledge the issue, so that's good. And that's really good because, like I said, after 8 years, we got absolutely nothing acknowledging it. He said, I need to know the details to discuss anything further. Leaving a great many times is hilariously vague, and that's intentional, yeah. So Blizzard doesn't ever really reveal how or when they are going to action people, right? It's very famous in the botting and the gold selling world, and it creates this kind of air of concern and worry, like you're not scot-free doing these things. You're constantly looking over your shoulder, a little paranoia in those settings, you know, and doing it like out front and like verbally and kind of drawing that line in the sand is more impactful than actually banning people for a lot of reasons. Like if they just banned people and never commented on it, it would be a whole different situation. Like first of all, they would lose a lot of money because they'd be banning a lot more people. I don't think they want to ban people, right? Like the goal here is not to remove people from the video game. It's to change their behavior. This is exactly how you do that. So I'm really happy with that. This guy commented because I think this is really a great way to respond to these people. He says, people are like, you suck, I'm better than you. And why do I have the same score as you? Or why are we in the same key? That's really all you need to ask. Just anybody who's saying this to you, just ask them that. Why are we in the same key then? You know what I mean? If it's a low key, it's maybe they're like farming an item or something like that. That's on them. They chose to do that. They're totally wrong on that point. If you're in a higher key together and you're the same competency level and you're in the same key together, then Blizzard just stated that you're the same. Okay, so then we're going to see a lot of this type of thing. Pretty much going to be like the rest of the video where we read these like hypothetical situations that I don't ever see submit. Like I've never seen myself personally in my own keys. I never see submitted to me. I hear people vent about all the time, and to me it just sounds like venting, like some extreme outlier that maybe occurs, but never enough that it would be a problem that you need to bring up, okay? So the guy says, I never leave groups and have not done so in all of season 1 so far, unless someone has already quit. So the guy says, I don't want to get stuck in a key for well over an hour with multiple attempts at a boss and getting nowhere, where everyone is scared to leave in case they get banned. It doesn't happen. It's just factually not happening. Again, if you can prove to me this is happening, send me footage of it. Otherwise, why are you making up? This is not even somebody who's saying it like they're harshly criticizing me with this. They're just saying they hope it doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. This will not happen. I'll tell you why this won't happen. One, dungeons aren't that fucking hard. The hard part of Mythic Plus is the timer. Yeah, if you're doing like maybe like a 14 or something higher, then the content can be very hard. Like the last boss of City of Threads is very, very difficult, and you may spend like 4 or 5 pulls there and not make a lot of progress. But it's an extreme outlier, and I do not think anybody is talking about this at this level of key. If you're talking about keys sub 12, like if you're talking about keys 10 or lower especially, this is not going to happen. There's just not a lot of difficulty here, okay? The hard part is not having a bunch of piecemeal deaths that lead to the timer going out. So if you're in a boat where you're having multiple attempts, I don't know what that would mean, but I'm assuming like at least 5 or more, and you're not making any progress at all to encourage you to think that we can kill this boss, everybody's gonna want to quit. Like, show me a group where there's 5 people wiping at like 10% into a boss, like they made no progress on the boss. Like, think of it, a raid fight, right? A raid fight, you might wipe at like in phase 1, quote unquote, for like weeks. You might wipe for weeks in phase 1, right? Show me that happening in Mythic Plus, and nobody's saying, hey, maybe we should just stop here. Dude, I have a fucking video from day 1 of the season. We do a 0 Grim Batol. We wiped once to a boss, and the healer's like, I don't think this is doable. Day 1, the season just started, and somebody's saying, I don't think this is doable. There's always this kind of behavior. People always act like this, where they're like, well, we can't do it. We wiped once. It's impossible. Nope, I'm not good enough for this. Neither are you. We're all out. You know what I mean? Everybody's going to want to quit. That's what they're saying in the post, that if everybody agrees to stop, it's fine. So nobody's going to be scared to leave. What would you be scared of? If you're wiping for this long, everybody would just be like, hey guys, I don't think this is worth our time. Does anybody agree? Yeah, everybody's going to agree, and they're just going to quit. That's why this doesn't happen. That's what I've been challenging people on. People are like, oh, bro, are you kidding me? This happens all the time. No, it fucking doesn't, because people would just leave. Nobody's going to care. Everybody's going to agree that they should stop. That's what I mean when I say it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because everybody would just agree to stop. So this person agrees with me, says this exact situation will never happen ever. And to be brutally honest, I myself have left more guild keys or keys with friends than I have pug keys. Sometimes people are just delusional, or in my case, just an alcoholic. What the hell? But I've never been in or seen a pug where people spend more than 3 to 5 attempts with no sign of progression, just outright quit. It's always a group decision. Exactly. I mean, you really summarized it perfectly. Whereas in a guild or friend group environment, I'm expected to just be okay with it, right? Like you would, yeah, he's actually right. This would be a bigger concern if you're in a group of friends who are like kind of expecting you to carry you. So this guy actually counters saying, I've never been in a pug when someone has left and it's a group decision. Usually max 3 attempts and someone instant leaves. That's not the definition of a group decision. And that doesn't need to be considered, because now they'll just have a group decision before they leave, right? You're explaining a situation where that person might now not want to do that because they might be banned, but Blizzard has clearly showed you the path forward on how to avoid it. So then, yeah, a lot of this comment. Never happens? Right, yeah, it never happens. I've seen this exact scenario myself this season, and I've seen many guildies going through it. No, you haven't. Or are you attempting to insinuate Blizzard won't ban people for that? No, yeah, the first thing. Again, if you guys are out there, like, let's go back to what was originally said. I don't want to get stuck in a key for well over an hour with multiple attempts at a boss and getting nowhere. All these words matter, right? Maybe they don't matter to you. Maybe they don't matter to you guys, but they matter to me. With everyone being scared to leave. This is never, ever going to happen. You know what's probably really cathartic for a lot of you guys? Proving somebody wrong. So go ahead and do it. Show me this situation. All I need is one piece of video evidence where everybody in the group is unable to surmount the difficulty of a Mythic Plus dungeon and they're still wanting to continue. Show me that footage. If you do, we'll have a whole new video. Like if you're in a raid group and they started banning people who leave pug raid groups, then you would have this, right? Like, you know, these bosses can take people months of progression before they finally kill, right? That's how it's designed. Mythic Plus is not designed like that. But yeah, I said it in this comment. I said this never happened once. Feel free to prove me wrong, right? It should be very easy. If you guys, I mean, like the comment was made. I've seen this exact scenario myself this season, and I've seen many guildies, many other people have also gone through it, right? So how hard is it to just show me this happening? That's all I need to see. I had a lot of reactions on this guy. He came in the stream, caused a bit of a stir. I'm going to try to give him an objective chance here, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, though, I'm belligerent, ignorant, whatever you want to call me, but this poor implementation of the English language is a big problem for me. Maybe it's just me. I'm a bad person. Whatever you want to say. I'll own it because it is who I am. All right. If you want to have a conversation with me, I need to be able to read your comment quickly. And over the years, this has been a big issue for me because I'm trying to read a lot of comments, right? Like, I want to reply to every single comment. I want to give people a good response that, you know, feels like we're having a conversation. But if this is as poor of English as you can muster, then it honestly feels kind of insulting because you want me to read your comment and I want to read your comment, but you couldn't possibly proofread it. Now, I get it. People are not native English speakers. I'm not saying that like America #1 or whatever here, okay? But this is 2024 and it's soon to be 2025 at this point. If I make these typos, my browser is going to scream at me, dude. There's going to be red lines everywhere. I guess the problem is that your browser is not naturally in English. I don't know how that works. But I knew a guy who taught himself English on the internet, and he would tell me all the time that he would be able to change his like spell checker or whatever it's called to English, and he would do that whenever he was trying to leave a comment. So he would know if he was making a mistake with English grammar. And that's how he got better at English. Because it's like actually crazy, right? If you think about it this way, a little side tangent here. If you don't know that you're making a mistake in English, it could be very likely that you continue to make that mistake. But if you turn that feature on, it will tell you when you're making a mistake. And then you'll read what it's recommending and you'll be like, huh, okay, is that how you're supposed to use that word? Interesting. Is that what you're supposed to do with the comma? Like, you know what I mean? It's actually crazy that you have a built-in tool on your browser in 2024. Everybody has this and you're just not using it. Like, you're not making any indication that you care about how bad your statement is sounding. So anyway, again, that's just my rant on that, but that was a huge issue with this guy, all right? So I'm going to try to read his comment and give him a fair response now because I did not do a good job of that when it got posted. He says, this can be a big problem. Who decides what is recklessly? I assume he's quoting something I said because I don't believe Blizzard said that, but he goes on to elaborate what he means by that. He said the rest of the players doing the report, like he's talking about in the group, if everybody report him. I think he's assuming that this is going to be based on reports. I don't know that, and I don't know that anybody knows that, but I don't think that's going to be how it works. I think it's like maybe you can report people, and then Blizzard has to look into it past that. You know what I mean? I don't think it's just going to be some automated thing that if 4 people report you, then you automatically get banned. He says it can be a useful tool, but I don't trust in the user. Short story, in BFA 18 Siege, we fucked up the key. The tank asked, hey, do you want to keep going? Me and the healer said, sorry, no, we only want to upgrade. Take care and thanks. Then he puts in, as an aside, cause my time is worth 2, you know? 10 minutes later, I received threats on my whispers and a call from my guildmaster. Hey, this person is saying you quit the key. What's going on? As a tank, I experience a few stuff too. Hey guys, please let me pull. You pick me as a tank. I know the route. Guys, please don't fight each other. Let's have some fun. Stress a lot of stress in a game for human behavior. Is that considered recklessly? And then people ask, why are you calling it out? Guys, you were just saying bad words and trolling the entire key and you're asking why and getting pissed? Getting mad, I guess. The shaman video you show in your channel, he was getting bait and trolled by his own group. Can he leave for saving his sanity? That's a good point to bring that up, actually. The rest, I honestly can't, I don't understand this. I tried to read it once, and I thought me reading it again in the video would help me understand. I have no idea what he's saying. I really don't understand what your point is here, man. I'm sorry. Like, this is not me trying to be insulting to you or like you called me racist for this. This is not a race, by the way. Not knowing English is not a race. I can't understand what you're saying. So please put a little bit more effort into what you're saying. Turn on the spell check and see if you can figure it out. But it's like, it doesn't make any sense to me, okay? From what I can tell, what he's saying is that the key, I'm not even sure what the point of this story was, but it sounds like he's saying like they were in a key, people didn't want to finish it, and then a couple people did want to finish it, so they got really, really mad at him and started like threatening his guild or something like that. I don't know what the point of this is. Like, if this happens to you regularly, this is all I'll say. If this happens to you regularly, you're the problem. That's really all there is to it, okay? You got to remember, Blizzard says a great many keys. If you're talking about something that happens once a year, then this is not a problem. It's who cares? It happened to you. I'm sorry that happened to you. You're mad, whatever. I don't really know anything about the situation. All I'm hearing is from your side, by the way. I can't prove that this happened. You don't have any proof that this happened. I've asked for the proof. I need the proof. Like, in order to comment on whether or not it's fair that you leave, I would need to see it for myself, because guess what? There's probably another side to it. Always 3 sides to every story. Your side, my side, and the truth. Jorge Masvidal, right? It's just, likely the case. Like, I'm sure they have a reason that they're mad at you, and you believe that you're right, and they believe that they're right. This is just how the game works, this is how human psychology works. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that it happens, but it doesn't happen enough that it's a problem, okay? So I, like, literally can't understand what the guy says. So my response is basically, the only time you should leave is when the group leader wants to stop. Blizzard literally just agreed with that. So, I mean, not quite, but they pretty much did. Like, everybody has to agree that you should want to stop. I assume if 4 people all agree they want to stop and the group leader wants to continue, then he's the odd man out on that, and that's, you know, the end of the key right there. But so now it gets really, really, really weird. Like, this is when this goes off the rails pretty much immediately. And, you know, I just want to display this because I don't fully understand what the guy's saying, but the response here is really, really weird. He says, I think this is a very dangerous statement. Then says, with all respect, big fan of your content. Remember this part, with all respect. I don't think Blizzard just agreed with that. I don't know why you understand that. They are against extremely toxic behavior. So I think he's misunderstanding what I'm saying, first of all, because they literally did agree with that. They agree that if everybody wants to quit, then you can quit. And that means that the only time you should leave is when, okay, I say the group leader, yes, but really it should be the whole group wants to stop. He says, just people quitting at the very start of the dungeon, for example, is a step, but I don't know why you take that quote. And I think the entire hypothesis of your speech is based in that every people is good at the game, and we all know that is not. The only time you should leave is when the group leader wants to stop. That is a very toxic response. No, it's not toxic. This is what I said. I mean, you use the word toxic this way, I don't have any fucking interest in talking with you. I really don't, okay? This is just a nonsense thing to do here. It's just really, really offensive that people use these because you're trying to use these buzzwords to make you sound smarter. You're trying to make them your argument point, right? Like, oh, that guy's toxic, I'm right. People do this all the time. Like, oh, you're a narcissist, so that automatically means you're wrong. Oh, you're a hypocrite, so that automatically means you're wrong. Oh, you're toxic, you're automatically wrong. That's not how it fucking works, okay? There's a lot of people who are those things that can still be right. So you're trying to win an argument with that, makes you look very unintelligent, makes you look very low. That's how 8th graders argue. I was in a debate class when I was young, right? And that's how everybody argued in that class. They would basically just try to discredit the person instead of talk about the actual conversation. Then when I got to college and people argued that way, it was like so easy to dissect. I love this kind of stuff. This is why I love making YouTube videos. So this kind of thing is all for me. But the reality is, if you argue like this, it's just not a very good look, okay? And I don't really know how to reply to this guy outside of that. It just doesn't make me want to talk to you, and I don't really see your point, okay? So I said what I said, and yeah, maybe it was a little snarky, but here's the response, right? This is the guy who has said, with all respect, big fan of your content, right? He says, very mature. That is how people can manage rational responses. I think you have serious issues, man. Why you have a channel to open up about a subject and have this answers only with people to disagree with you. Again, pretty mature. I'm not a leaver, so I'm chill. And best of luck with the racist report on YouTube. So, okay, so you're a big fan of the content. All respect. I said you're misusing a word so heavily it makes me not want to respond to you. Now you are reporting my channel? That's how big of a fan you are? You really like the content enough that one comment caused you to fucking report my channel for racism? Do you have any idea how serious that allegation is? It's not a fucking race to not be able to speak English, you idiot. Like, this is why I don't like this guy, okay? And this guy's trying to, like, write this narrative that, like, I'm being unfair. He leaves, like, 100 comments on this video about me being, like, unfairly criticizing him. Bro, you fucking, you claim to have reported my channel for being racist. Like, that's unacceptable, dude. What you just did should be fucking illegal, first of all. But the fact that you actually did that because I can't read your comment and I told you that, you're a bad person, all right? That's just really fucking stupid. But I think it got caught up, right? Because then he replies with the exact same thing. So this is the first time I noticed this. I think he's like looking back and he's not seeing his own reply. So he then tries to type it again, right? But guess what he didn't put in this time? He didn't put the fact that he's trying to report me. This guy says, I agree with that to a certain point, but repair costs are so large now that it can be hard to justify staying in a group. Repair costs, really. I don't want to be paying 2,000 gold in repair bills just to keep the leader happy. It's very expensive, very quick. Well, you can ask him for gold. How about that? If you can't afford to do Mythic Plus, you probably shouldn't be doing Mythic Plus in the first place in that case. But anyway, let's just say hypothetically you can't afford to do it. Hey man, if you really want me to stay in your key, can you just throw me a little bit of gold so I can repair it? That's all I'm asking. Conversations are very scary, I know. Here's this guy again. He says it's an insane take, what I said. You expect someone to pay tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of gold in repairs each season because they plugged into a key and can't leave because the leader who could have 15 deaths doesn't want to. Again, if you have 50, I don't know, well, 15 deaths is not even a lot. I have no idea why. Some people make these numbers up, and it's like, wow, you're not even aware of Mythic Plus enough to come up with an actual exaggeration. That's kind of scary. That's a normal amount of deaths. So anyway, yeah, 15 deaths, you might want to leave at that point, right? I think if you had, let's just say 50 deaths, we'll try to help them out. If you had 50 deaths, I imagine most people would want to continue. Okay, like that's all I'm saying. This is not happening. And yeah, again, hundreds of thousands of golden repairs each season. You're fucking insane, man. These people come up with like the worst examples. It's really, really embarrassing. And then you type like this and you make these statements, and it's just like, how could anybody take you serious? You're asking me to take you serious. I can't take you serious. But like, you're honestly kind of asking Blizzard to take you serious too, right? Like, because they just said something, you disagree with it, and now you're trying to make a point while they should not have said what they said. This is not how you do that. He says, you are just as toxic, if not more toxic, than the Leavers, trying to force people to stick through some of these BS keys. That's not what the word toxic means. I don't know how else to say it. That's just not what the word means. It is not toxic to want to stay in group content that you signed up for. That's just not what the word means. He says, throughout this whole video, you act as if IO is a clear sign of someone's skill. There are plenty of people with inflated IO everything, just like randomly debating different points in one comment. And again, I apologize if I confused anybody with what I said in the video. I did not make my point very clearly. Obviously, it was like a rush to walk home and see this. And yeah, I was not making a lot of points clearly at all. So I apologize if I confused anybody. That is not what I was trying to say. Obviously, there's different skill levels within the same Red or IO score, but Blizzard just doesn't care. They don't look at it that way. You're not going to be able to win an argument with Blizzard because of that, okay? So this guy actually then was watching the stream. We were reacting to this on stream, okay? He says, so I just watched you in a Siege 13 pull third boss into the shooter pack with the worst possible timing ever. Almost like you didn't even know it existed. Correct. Yeah, I never had seen that timing occur, obviously. You think if I did that more than once, I would continue to do that? Wipe the group without using your utility to interrupt the shots? Nobody died to the shots, by the way. It was literally the thing that you brought up originally, the worst timing ever. Everybody got pulled in to when he did the circles on the ground because the trash pulls you in and then the boss does the circles. The shots were at no, like that's why we bloodlusted there, because like the damage is not that scary. Anyway, DPS rightfully got mad at you. I disagree with that, right? We didn't even have the timer over at that point. I did it and we were very, very comfortable on the timer. He says, as you had plenty of time and it quite literally bricked the key. No, it literally didn't. That's factually incorrect. He said, then you called them bad. First of all, I never called them bad. I just said that behavior is unacceptable. And it was. That guy ruined the key with his behavior. That mage tilted into oblivion instantly. Did I make a decision that I regret? Yeah. I mean, fuck. Did you ever make a decision that you regret? Sometimes you do things that you regret. And that's why I would say all the time about progression keys. Like, this was just purely a situation that needed my experience levels. I have done this multiple times. It has worked before, but I've never seen that exact overlap happen. So now I need to know something new if I want to continue to do that. That's all there is to it. If everybody finished every key, I would have known that years ago. I wouldn't have had to make this mistake 11 weeks into the season. Do you understand? That's actually my point that you're making there. Anyway, he says, I refuse to believe you're a real person at this point. I can assure you I'm real. Okay, I want to give Fraught the full chance here because, you know, I did like reply very quickly and I think he got a little agitated by that. This is a longtime viewer. So I said in the video, are you sure you're not the problem? Okay, and I'm talking specifically about these people who constantly say like everybody else in the group sucks. I'm not staying in a group with them. I'm very, very, very firm on saying that, like, yeah, you probably are also bad. Like, if not, you wouldn't be at that key level. Like, that's all there is to it, man. If you're doing a key you need for score and you think everybody else around you is sucking to the point where you can't progress, you probably also suck, man. That's just how it is. I feel the same way. Sometimes I'm like, wow, that guy really sucks. And then I make a mistake and it's like, oh shit, very humbling experience. You know what I mean? He says, no offense, Metro. I love your videos and your attitude on most things related to Mythic Plus, but this is kind of a surface level way to look at it. And honestly, right out of the gate, that's kind of insulting of you to say that. If you think, and I know you know this, like you watch the channel, right? If you think after all of these years, my opinions are surface level, it's not very flattering. Okay, you say that to me, I'm immediately checked out, and that's a big part of why I said what I said in this comment section. Anyway, he says people do lower keys than the level they're at sometimes to farm crest or to farm a specific item, or they actually need the key and somebody invites a friend who they have himself literally boosted through keys, which I know personally you can do very much up to like 11s, who then ends up adding endless amounts of stress to what should be a really easy time, or somebody disconnects multiple times and just makes every actual friction point in a key so much more stressful for others, or they only do damage and let party-wide damage go. This is like a bunch of just excuses about bad players. Or they ignore a skip the party is doing. Okay, so you basically name like every possible mistake you can make in a key. He says there's loads of reasons for people to join, for a person who joins a key to be justified in leaving a key prematurely. And if you watched it, again, you watch the channel, you know, I don't agree. Like I don't agree with that. Obviously, there is no reason. You willingly signed up to a pug group. If you demand that everybody else in the group does exactly what you want, then don't pug. Like that's it. You know I feel that way. You know I feel that way. Everybody on this channel has heard me say this hundreds of times. I mean, maybe thousands of times at this point, okay? That's how I feel about it. All of those reasons are not justifiable reasons in my eyes. Like, yeah, maybe there's one where you have a friend who is boosting another guy. At that point, I could see being agitated. This is never happening in the keys I'm doing. He's talking about sub 12s. I don't know. I don't do those keys, man. You're willingly signing up to low keys. Sometimes you get the wildness that is low keys. That's all I've been saying for years. And to go into them expecting perfection is just on you at this point. Anyway, he says, I think the respect for somebody's keystone should go both for leaving and performance. And I disagree. Like I've said I disagree on this for years. I don't know why you would expect me to agree with this or care about this. It's not the first time I've thought about this. This is not some new thing that, oh, I never even considered that perspective. I have already considered that perspective and I disagree with it. You are not able to compare leaving and being bad. Those are not the same things. People who are bad are not doing it on purpose. They're doing it because maybe they are just not aware of something. Maybe they lack knowledge. Maybe they're making a mistake that they're not aware they're making. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe their peripherals, their hardware, their computer, their internet, something is wrong and it's not going perfectly for them. We don't know. We don't know anything about the situation. So making up these hypothetical things over and over again does not increase our ability to have this conversation. It just makes it harder. All I know is leaving is always intentional. Did anybody ever leave by accident? I don't think so. Well, I did. I actually have a video. That's what I was saying before. I actually have a video of me leaving by accident, but that's a whole different conversation. He says, I think the depressing part of the solution is that Blizzard just wants to smite people's account for potentially unjustified reasons. Instead of, I don't know, putting in some effort and reworking the absolutely idiotic keystone system where only the key holder takes a risk, which makes LFG and giving people a chance stupid risky. It's completely binary where you either time your key. Okay, yes, we know how the keystone system works. I'll tell you another thing though, if you want to conversate on this channel, please use commas and periods. Like writing a full paragraph as one sentence is really hard to read. But anyway, you're talking about potentially unjustified reasons instead of reworking the system. There's no evidence that they're not. I don't know why you think that just because they made this post, like literally they may be doing nothing. Like they could make this post, they could type it out on their keyboards, press send. That has nothing to do with any of their directives with content. I don't know why you would think it would. So I don't agree with that either, right? That's another thing I don't agree with. Anyway, I don't particularly disagree with punishing habitual Mythic Plus leavers, especially because these bans are not handed out to anybody who's ever left a key. I have some friends who do it semi-often who didn't get banned, so these bans have to be handed out for some egregious behavior. And I'm not convinced there are bans, like I said, but if anybody has proof of it, I would definitely like to see it. Anyway, he says, but I wish Blizzard looked into the Mythic Keystone system more comprehensively than just, you're banned. Again, I don't know why you're saying that. It doesn't make any sense. There's no evidence that they're like, we are not going to be doing anything else. We're just going to be banning leavers. That's not, it's just not something that's happening. I don't know why we're reacting to that. So I said, disagree, obviously, but thanks for leaving your thoughts. But I thought that was a pretty respectful way to have this go because fucking obviously I disagree with this. Like, you say you watch the content, I see in every comment section, you must know this is how I disagree with this because it's something I talk about all the time. So then this person again says, Metro is toxic himself and not good for the community. His takes are NPD rants. I had to look this up. We'll look it up right now for you guys. Narcissistic personality disorder, also known as pathological narcissism, is a mental health condition in which a person believes they are better than everyone else. To say I'm toxic and then say that, it's like, oh yeah, you really are the aficionado on what it means to be toxic. So anyway, he gets agitated by this. Back to the actual person I want to talk to. Disagree with what? You disagree with the keystone system not being perfect. You disagree with there being nuance in people leaving a run. You disagree that everybody in the party should have respect for the key holder's key. Unless they're the key holder. Okay, yes. So you think some people are correct in disrespecting someone else's key and they should intentionally grief it? I don't know. Did that even get brought up? I don't know where that got brought up. All right, then. I don't get what's disagreeable with what I said, because I didn't even disagree with anything you said from what I can remember. I mean, yeah, you did. All I was saying is that Blizzard banning Leavers is a band-aid that doesn't actually solve pretty much anything, and knowing their history of automation, they will not handle this Mythic Plus Leaver banning thing perfectly. So yeah, you can clarify your point on that. Great. I agree a little bit more, but yeah, I already reacted to everything that I disagree with. I literally disagree with everything you said originally. You could clarify your points now to make it more clear that all you're saying is that they should have done more, and I agree they should have done more, but it doesn't matter. Like, this needed to be done too. This is not something that you only do one or the other. So then the person who just fucking insulted me, like mentally insulted me and called me toxic, you actually agree with that person. You say, yeah, it's a little disheartening. I'm not supporting letting toxic people continue to play the game without punishment. So it's weird to see him disagree with me, just wanting Blizzard to work on the Keystone system a little bit more than just will ban Leavers. It's not like being talked about. This is not a conversation that anybody's having right now. Like, this is not what the article or the video or anything about this conversation is. I disagree with you in the context of the video. Is that better? Like, yes, I want them to make the Keystone system better. There's no indication they're doing that or not doing that, so we're just not talking about it. He says it'll vindicate some, upset others, and at the end of the day, LFG will still be toxic as fuck. It solves almost nothing. And I disagree. I think literally, we're seeing the video reaction in the video on Wowhead elsewhere. It's solving a lot. It really, really is. And it's a pretty good solution to this. Like I said, even if they do nothing else, I'm very, very satisfied with this. But then this person says, it's funny because many people will leave the game. Metro will have no content, so I don't know how he supports this. Just throwing every fucking thing at the wall, trying to get one of these arguments to make sense. Do you really, let's be serious here. If you guys watch my content, do you really think I care if people who leave Mythic Plus dungeons quit the game? Do you really make this statement and think, oh wow, I can't believe he's such a hypocrite for supporting this? Doesn't he want content for his channel? Do you really fucking think I believe that if every Mythic Plus leaver unsubscribes from this video game, I will be less happy? You guys can answer that. I've spoken enough on that. We'll look at a couple new ones here too. Here comes the fun police. So sick of modern Blizzard. Like, yeah, you're calling it the fun police. That is insanity. You're talking about leaving Mythic Plus, disrupting other people's behavior, and you're saying that they're being the fun police by stopping that and cracking down on that. Really, really, really scary to say out loud. Anyway, so now this is kind of how this beginning rant started. Okay, I can't find this guy's comments because it's hidden so fucking hard, I guess. But so he says, nice job deleting disagreeing comments here. Again, did not do that. I'm going to read it. I have it on my phone. It's like a different thing on YouTube on desktop than it is on my phone. I can see his comment here, okay? Now, this is funny because I can see every comment the guy left, okay? So this was 4 months ago. This was his only other comments on the channel. He says, nice breath of fresh air to find your channel. I exclusively play Mythic Plus Pugs as Disc, and I finally decided to quit after getting my Keystone Hero. Disc doesn't have the best reactive toolkit, so when people step in bad, I can't recover. It's always a barrage of anger and flame thrown at me, is what he says. Reacting to healer not healing. Okay, this is a comment he made 4 months ago, and it didn't register as a red flag to me at the time, right? He says it's fun, but it's not fun enough to justify dealing with all the unwarranted toxicity from DPS who only tunnel vision their rotations. I should have realized that it was like a ticking time bomb waiting to go off, right? He's saying that he doesn't enjoy Disc because every key he's in, he can't meet healing checks and people get mad at him, right? Do you believe this is happening? I really, think about what this means to you, okay? So anyway, then he comments this, all right? Now, this is what he originally commented and why he's mad about it. One day ago, I leave runs somewhat regularly, and if Blizzard completely ignores the context of why a player left, I will accept a ban and quit. Could just stop right there, because honestly, that'd be fine. I would appreciate you doing that. But they literally said they're not going to ignore the context of why a player left. They gave you reasons why you should and shouldn't leave. But he goes on to clarify that I'm a healer main, I remember, and exclusively play Mythic Plus Pugs. Says in the fucking post, I only do 10s for Vault though. I don't push. Uh-oh. When people treat me like shit and call me slurs for wipes that could have been prevented with a moderate amount of interrupts, defensives, or non-MDI pulls, I get tilted. I believe you. I can always try to compensate for good group mechanics, but I will not exclusively accept blame for something that the group as a whole could have prevented. This is not a fringe issue and happens almost predictably on wipes. Not a fringe issue that people are calling you slurs in tens. Wow. Always people want to blame someone, and it's usually the tank or the healer. I can relate to that. I don't mind slow runs, wipes, fuck-ups, suboptimal routes. It's part of the game. Just treat me with respect, and I'll do the same to you. I don't only play the game for gear. No? Then why are you only doing tens? And I'm not going to spend my game time soaking the outburst of toxic people just because Blizzard said I have to. I'd rather get banned. You can probably assume what I replied, but here's what I replied. It's crazy how there's always a list of built-in excuses. You are saying that a great many keys feature people calling you slurs. I don't think I've ever heard that once. That's actually crazy. I'm assuming the guy's probably from Ragnaros or Azralan. I'm just going to assume that. And he's relating anybody calling those realms out as slurs. That's the only thing I can think of here. I don't know that I've ever seen someone use a slur in a game, and it's for obvious reasons. You're going to get banned if you do that. Like, you just right-click report that guy. Like, he's broken the rules way more than you have. It's really, really weird to behave this way. Like, this guy's calling me slurs, so I'm going to now go break a rule to get around it. No, you just report the guy. Like, he's going to get banned. Anyway, I said, anyone saying I leave runs somewhat regularly. That's literally his first 5 words. I leave runs somewhat regularly. I said, you should just quit the game now. Please don't wait for a ban. We are sick of people like you making up nonsense excuses for your bad behavior. And I shouldn't have even said that because I don't think he made this up. I think he's just misrepresenting what's happening. Given the first comment we read and now this one, he probably constantly fights with people. He probably doesn't play disc very well. He probably struggles and then gets an argument. I mean, how do you have a 10? This is the crazy part. We're talking about a 10. And he said this isn't a fringe case. Like, what? You're failing this many 10s to healing checks? Oh, no. So he replies to me. This gets auto-blocked too, okay? I assume the first comment was auto-blocked because the word fuck-ups. That's the only thing I would imagine. But I think once you make the second comment, the first one gets blocked too. He says, a great many keys. He's replying to me. He's quoting me. A great many keys featuring people calling you slurs. He says, yes. That's all he says. 2, anyone saying I leave runs somewhat regularly should just quit the game. He replies, no. I'm a paying customer playing within the confines of the allowed mechanics. No, you're not anymore. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're changing the allowed mechanics. He says, all I'm asking is for people to take responsibility and not behave like toxic cunts. Now I know why that one got flagged. If you think that is too much to ask, you have lost it. I just don't believe you. I just don't trust you. Like, based on what you're typing here, I do not trust that you're telling the truth about this. That's the problem here. It seems to me like you're lying. And again, you can easily prove this. Just go record a key. Now, if this is going to be hard to do because you could easily just know that you're recording it and not type anything back when it happens. But I would need to see these slurs in first because I've never seen it. The only thing that makes sense is that the guy plays on Azralan or Ragnaros and people are attacking him for his realm. And yeah, I get it, man. It sucks, but I would really encourage you to leave the realm. If you feel like you are being unfairly stigmatized by that realm, you should leave. It is not a slur to insult the realm. It's not a race. It is not a creed. It is not a people, okay? It is a realm that has very distinguishable bad characteristics about the players, not where they are from or who they are. That is not why the reputation is what it is. And you being a paying customer does not absolve you of that behavior. Like, if people are acting improperly, you report them and you do not add an insult to the injury. Like, that's all there is to it, right? I'm not wipe festing for hours in a Mythic Plus pug. You're right, nobody is. My time is more valuable, so count me in as a leaver. Can do. You'll not be holding me hostage in a game I pay to have for I mean, why do you fucking pug? I don't really understand. You're talking about how unfun it is to pug. Why do you guys keep doing it? It really doesn't make any sense to me. He says, I will provide tips and several tries after wipes, but otherwise the individuals causing the issues need to take some responsibility, not just be indefinite carries. In my experience, the issue is usually 1 or 2 of the pugs is just a very poor performer that drags the group down to complete failure. What is the fix for that? It doesn't exist. I mean, I don't ever see it, dude. I have a video on this channel just from a few weeks ago, okay? We have 5 bad players. Literally 5 players. The person who submitted the key may be the worst person in the run. They're going to upgrade the key. They're literally on track to upgrade the key. They might double upgrade the key. It's a 9, okay? They're on track. They got 5 of the worst players I've ever seen. You got a tank asking for Soothe when he's the only one with it and doesn't have it. You got a shaman healer putting Spirit Link down and aggroing things, throwing fireballs at bosses when people aren't ready to pull bosses. It's like every possible mistake you can make, they're going to upgrade the key, okay? So prove to me that this is happening. This is what I'm telling you guys. Prove to me that this is happening. That you're being held hostage. That somehow you're just like absurdly better than everybody else in the content that you're doing. And that that there's 1 or 2 other people regularly just so fucking bad that somehow you can't carry them. Right? It doesn't even make sense if you think of it that way. I'm so much better than this person, but I'm not good enough to carry them. Well, tell me how this happens. Show me footage. So I just said not pugging because like I'm just sick of reading this at this point. Just stop pugging. Just stop pugging. You say you're not having fun. You don't like pugging. You don't want to be held hostage. There's a very, very, very clear response to this. You should stop pugging. Okay. Here's this guy again. He literally comments on like every fucking comment on this channel. This guy says, well, once you get banned, you won't have to worry about being held hostage. Yeah, just do it till failure, to be honest. Like, just be ignorant. Just be belligerent on it. If you believe you're doing nothing wrong, then keep doing what you're doing. And if you get banned, then you can just stop playing the game, right? Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. If you believe you're justified in doing what you're doing, then just keep doing it. Okay, here's this guy again. He leaves 2 comments. Let me see if I can read find the first comment, because this is like absolute insanity what this guy does. Here's his first comment. If I will be forced to sit with a bad group in an hour-long key, or they will mass report me and give me a month-long ban, I'm quitting WoW. Please quit WoW, okay? This guy's not going to do this. He's too much of a fucking coward. But if everybody else who feels that way is on the fence about it, yes, I would like you to quit WoW. Even just saying this like this, like even just repeating this phrase out at all, you should realize that you're the problem here, okay? But it's hard to understand how people haven't gotten to that point. So let's delve deep into this guy's psychology here, okay? So this person replies, serial leaver identified by the comments. So this is where it starts getting really strange. He says, I've only left 4 keys in the whole season out of 100. I don't know why you would even say 100. Do you have that documented? He says, keep it up, casual. Link me your armory, serial low DPSer. So it's like almost like he's contradicting himself in this statement, don't you think? He says, I'm not going to play with bad players. This is effectively what he's saying, right? I'm not going to play with bad players. If I'm going to get banned for this, then I'm just going to quit now, okay? So we know that you would have to leave a great many keys for this to be a concern. We would know that people would want to have to continue that key that you left many, many times for that to be a concern, okay? So he's now somehow just doesn't know that, I guess, like maybe just too fucking stupid to read the post, and then says, I've only left 4 keys in the whole season out of 100. That's not a great many keys, so why are you worried about being banned? What is your point here? You basically just said, I'm not going to play with bad groups, but it almost never happens, right? That's what he just said. Like, this is why I'm reacting this way, because these people are making up these bullshit hypothetical situations that don't even happen. This guy's too fucking stupid to know that he just did that, okay? So, yeah, somebody with some actual brains replies, if the run is going that bad, I would imagine the majority would want to call that run. Yeah, like, that's what I've been saying the whole time. Based on your ideology of that comment, you come across as someone who doesn't like to communicate with others and improve. Anyway, he says, of course, WoW is not a social game on the pug level. Why am I punished for someone's incompetency and inability to do better? You're not. You said you only had it happen 4 times. He says, in what aspect do I need to improve at if I wasn't a problem to begin with? And this is really the psychology that all of these people bring to the table. They think they played perfectly, and whatever else, like somebody else is doing bad DPS, so they're just objectively worse than them, and I'm superior in all ways. I'm slightly better than you at fucking low keys. Like, I'm way, way more valuable, you know? This guy says, if you left once per month, why are you this worried? You left many comments, and no, I'm not a DPS brain. I only heal and tank. Now, here's where it goes off the rails. He says, it's just the beginning. They will make another social contract that will make you lawfully obligated to complete the key with 4 dead weights on you or face a permanent ban. Also, don't even care to cuss or call someone stupid, or you will be doxxed. Blizzard 2010, what is that? I don't even know what the fuck that means. And receive death threats and bomb squad call-ins. Okay. So that comment does not get published. You might be able to tell by the next comment. But anyway, he's basically like hardcore conspiracy theorying that Blizzard is now going to somehow get legal action ramified on you if you leave a key in a video game. He says this YouTube talking about me, I guess he couldn't put the R in there. He probably meant to say this YouTuber is going to delete any comment with real words again. Or maybe he's actually talking about the platform. I don't know. But yeah, to talk about death threats and bomb squad call-ins in a YouTube comment, that's probably not allowed here generally. Not me, again, I didn't do that. It's just the beginning. So he just basically says the same thing again. It's always interesting to see when people know that they said something wrong to try to see how they try to fix it. This is how he tried to fix it. Instead of saying what he says, this is the first step into degenning the game into oblivion. Anyone who has problems, like real problems with levers, are either playing so bad with bad players they should quit the game, or playing high Mythic Plus that is just by definition doomed to be toxic and full of levers. Okay. So obviously, you know how I replied. He said, this solution will just completely cut off any low IO guy from climbing IO. No one ever again will give anyone a chance because you can now suddenly be banned. And at no point did anybody think it was ever going to be sudden. Anyway, and of course, this will be automated with no real GMs like any Blizz feature. Got 2 bad groups back to back with no hope of even killing first boss. That doesn't exist. You are now flagged and you are now serial lever. Yes, 2 back to back. That's a great many keys. I really don't know if people just straight up didn't watch the video, didn't read the post. It's a fucking 12-minute video and we read the post in like the first 5 seconds of it. It doesn't make me believe that you're intelligent when you conversate like this. It really doesn't. It makes me worried, actually, how unintelligent or how unaware you are of the things you're commenting on, too. He says you're now considered non-human, chemical castration, and public doxing. So all the people in this comment section could send you unalived threats. He's trying to say death threats, I guess, but trying to not use the word death threat because, well, it's group content, you stupid. You should have known better. Yeah, kind of really should have. That same, it's group content, people who can't speak to people IRL without sounding like SH. What is SH? Or predators playing the game with automated no comm required raid and dungeon finder with no comms pugs. I worry about you, man. I really do. Anyway, so he then replies to me after that. He says, now this is crazy. This is fucking insane, right? Watch this. He goes, like me who left 4 keys. LeMayo, you are so demented and delusional. You were cool once, but now you're just an old low IO player. Oh, low IO. That hurt. That kind of hurt. Look at this. I can scroll down for a while. Look at how many replies he leaves just to me, that one comment. I'm going to read every one of them. So I'm now obligated to carry bad players. Funny how you talk like that, LeMayo. Didn't you leave a key just because Druid played wrong talent? So you are a lever and a griefer with proof, so you should be banned. Even if I did leave that key, I really don't get like how stupid, like at first I was not understanding how stupid this person actually was because I was assuming that they were trying to extrapolate like a basis of evidence based on one key, but that's not even what they're doing. They literally think that if you leave one key, you're going to get banned. That's like, who said that? At what point did anybody say that was going to happen? He says, please respond to my Druid combat, you massive rat hypocrite. Thanks. Also, you're just telling people all over who just don't want to carry people for free to quit the game is so funny. I'm glad you find it funny. Imagine a guy in your group who does 300k DPS and dies to every pull and you're 14, and if you leave, you get banned. That doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. That's why we're talking about that, because that doesn't exist. Do you understand 300k? Like, why do you bring these numbers up? Why do people say these things, dude? 300k DPS would be lower than the healer by a lot, like a substantial amount lower, depending on what situation we're talking about. On a boss, maybe not. But if we're talking about overall DPS, 300k DPS would be lower than a healer. Find me a key where there's somebody doing 300k DPS and people want to continue. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Who's holding them hostage? How are you a hostage? Nobody wants to play with that guy. It doesn't fucking happen. Nobody is staying in that key. Nobody's getting banned for that. Blizzard literally said, if everybody wants to stop the key, then it's not a problem. That's the exact situation that you're describing here. He says, and if I ever see you leave any key ever, you are just a lever who should quit WoW. Your own words. Those are not my words, no. Also, imagine a world where there's now 3 RMT guys boosting, taking in one random guy from Pug, and this guy now suddenly finds himself in a 4-man group doing a 12, and if he leaves, he's getting banned for 1 month from the entirety of the game. Where are you getting this bullshit from? 1 month? Anyway, I actually have a video like that where there was a guy who clearly bought his key. We did the key. Guess what? I fucking finished the dungeon. We did a 20 in Shadowlands. There was actually probably 2 guys who probably bought their keys together. We carried them the whole way. I solo saved the boss. We finished the dungeon. It's crazy how you always said that Mythic Plus is competitive, and now you are pro casual Mythic Plus. Like just random, just literally, like I said before, just like launching. Like you ever see the people with the shirt guns at baseball games? That's what they're just launching shirts into the audience, hoping somebody catches one. Here's this guy again. He says low DPS should be a bannable offense. Same for dog shit gameplay. Leaving because you suck is completely legit. You're really going to be able to convince Blizzard of that. That's very well articulated. Good work. So I replied, trolling the guy basically. He said, you are not going to comment how you left a key yourself? Funny hypocrite. You don't deserve anything in your YouTube career because you are delusional and toxic. This guy replies again, Jesus, look at all these salty responses from you. Absolutely pathetic and embarrassing. Yeah, it really, really is embarrassing. You quitting would be a blessing to the community, so please quit and never come back. Go play a game like Rust. I feel like that's more your speed. I don't know what that game is. Is that a big insult? The guy says, why are you deleting my comments about the key you left? I'm not. He's probably linking the video. That's the only thing I can think of. He's linking the video. And like, obviously you're not allowed to link something on YouTube. Do you actually think you're allowed to post a link? Don't want to be exposed as a racist, inbred hypocrite. What does leaving a Mythic Plus dungeon have to do with being a racist, inbred hypocrite? He says, keep deleting comments, man. You are even more pathetic than I have imagined. Left the key because Druid played different talents from what you wanted him to take. Not what happened there. Not what happened there. First of all, I didn't leave the key. Literally, you could go watch the video. I didn't leave the key. I was agitated because I asked him to do something he said he would, and then he chose not to do it at the last second. That's why I was agitated. He said, made fun of him in front of the stream, 10 viewers. Shadowlands wasn't the best time in my career, but that was early in the season of the first season of Shadowlands. So yeah, that was probably going to be more than 10 viewers. And then, of course, you probably only know about it because of Grawl, a video that has like 500K views. So anyway, I said apparently I called him a non-player and undeserving of love and left the key. I don't remember doing that. If I did that, well, I apologize. I was pretty mad. I remember being really mad in that situation. But I just don't really get this. Like, how low of an argument have you stooped to? Like, what, me being a hypocrite means I'm automatically wrong? That's just not how it works. I really don't understand why people try to conversate like that. Anyway, let's go and find, like, the actual comment that I wanted to read. That's not the one I wanted to read, which is crazy. So you remember before when he said, I used to be cool and now I'm not, basically? Well, he's changed his tune. He says, this guy was always weird to me. I didn't used to be cool. I was always weird. But now I see it. He is toxic himself, telling people to off themselves from WoW while leaving the keys himself. Hypocrite. You gotta clarify that. That's why this guy is so unpopular. Yeah, you're right. Very unpopular. And gives himself the title Anti-Asmongold. Did I do that? He doesn't even play the game anymore. I don't understand what that... Did I actually say that? I don't remember actually saying that, but I don't know what Asmongold not playing the game has to do with me. Mythic Plus is competitive, but if there's 3-hour-long keys, you must continue going or you get banned, even if there's nothing to gain. Same item level and IO equals skill if you have bad players in the group. You are the bad players. This guy is stupid or what? Yeah, definitely me is stupid. This guy's again here. He's like, you still complaining and spamming the comments? You must be one of those players that got action with this announcements. Take your garbage to 4chan and go away. Hey, look who's back. Our other friends. It's like, they must be together, right? This is too funny. It's like a collection of all the funny comments. I agree here. I saw his stream today and I comment a couple stuff, not insulting anybody. He just got mental. The anger management of this guy. I was a follower of his channel and that was super off. Was like, what the fuck, haha, dude, it's just an opinion. But whatever, I'm always open to listen to other opinions in the section. I don't know why he disrespected me and others. Of course I put the report on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know why I would disrespect you after you fucking threatened to report my channel for being racist. I don't know why I would have no respect for you. I don't know what the reason would be. I don't think this is okay at all. Just watch his comment up there. The only time you should leave is when the group leader wants to stop, or having the argument of, if you don't record it, that never happens. Hilarious. I don't know, this one is like, I just can't really seem to get through to people on this. Like, you're making something up, okay? I have every run documented. I've never seen it. So I have proof that it's not happening. You're claiming it's happening. Why is it strange for me to want you to show me that proof? I really don't understand that part. Maybe I think a lot of people just don't know that I have this all documented or something like that. That's the only thing that would make sense to me. And we said, and I think the most serious thing are some racist quotes. It's not the first time he called it out to non-native speakers. Again, It's not a fucking race to not speak English. I don't understand what you're talking about. Why are you saying this? Like, this is why I don't want to talk to you, because you're just saying absolute fucking bullshit. And I'm not sure if it's because you don't understand the words you're using, you don't understand the words you're reading, or what's happening here. I don't know what it is. But you're saying things that are not true, making situations up about the video game, and then assuming that I'm a racist because I can't understand what you're saying and that it doesn't make sense. That is fucking insanity. He says, I did it twice on my stream because he knew that I was commenting here. Sorry if my English is broken. It's not my native language. Then work on it. That's all I can tell. I mean, that's all I can say. Just fucking work on it. If you want to have a conversation, this shit gets heated. People are going to reply to every word you say. So you're going to need to make sure every word you say is what you wanted to say. That's all I can say. If you want to argue with people on the internet, you're going to need to work a little bit on that. Okay, here we go. Keep deleting. He spelled deleting wrong. That's how enraged the guy is. Keep deleting my comments. You ain't getting away with this one, hypocrite. A video that like 500,000 views have seen. I'm not going to get away with this. He's going to fucking post it in my comment section. He just posts the video. That's it. Literally, he tries posting the video without it being a link. That didn't work either because he's too fucking stupid to realize that there is still a link there. Anyway, you hypocritical little girl who can't answer for his deeds from the public video that's on my channel. Metro rages after he realizes Druid doesn't have Trents in his own video where he leaves the key when the leader didn't want to stop and gave reasoning as his time was wasted, as his time is more important. I didn't leave the key. I actually didn't leave the key. Here's what I'm reacting to. I said, did you switch away from trees at the last second just to troll this key, by the way? The guy said no. So obviously he's denying it. I'm suggesting he did. I'm really mad about that. I said, why would you ever do a key with Necrotic without that talent? You had it when I entered the group. He says, because inspiring still fucks the trees up too, mate. Now I'm really, really mad at him because he's basically saying he did not take it on purpose. Like, he actually chose not to take it. He says he was going to take it, then he doesn't take it, and then I ask him if he switched on purpose. He says no, then he confirms he did switch on purpose. Here's my live reaction to it. Listen to this. And it's just fucking a joke, a complete fucking joke. Did this guy even use trees once? I swear to God, I haven't seen it. He does. You fucking kidding me, bro? He fucking switched away at the last second. Man, I don't know why I even fucking play this game anymore. It's a joke. It really is a fucking joke. No, I'm not gonna chill. This is so fucking stupid, man. These people are like, they don't deserve. Like, I should just leave this key, honestly. I really should. They do not deserve to finish this. Fucking idiot 800 bombkin doesn't understand to use fucking trees on Necrotic Week. Please stop playing the spec. Seriously, play Feral. I'm pretty worked up there, right? I said I should leave the key. He doesn't deserve it. Guess what I don't do? Here's the next pull of the dungeon, by the way. Gonna fight the boss that we just wiped too because everybody's doing the boss wrong. We wiped again. You see that seed pod? That means I'm dead. Here we go. Here's the ending to the key. Pay attention. You can see the chat right above, bottom left there. Guess who's the first person to leave? The guy who didn't have trees. I'm still in the key. I don't know what he's looking at. So now there's more discussion being brought up. What did you say that bothered him? Just curious. This guy has no idea what bothered me, by the way. Still doesn't. Probably still won't after listening to this video. He says, no clue. Like, what if people have to leave according to the bad performance of the group, I think? In his last live first minutes, I didn't insult anybody. Maybe it was a bad day because he had other rage in the live stream yesterday, insulting people's intelligence and stuff. No clue why it's so big of a deal. At the end, we agree in the bases, but Matt is his channel, but that doesn't give you to take it on people unless making fun on no native English speakers. He usually interprets that people is disrespectful just because they have different opinions. You can see it on the comments here. It's like mad or something out of the line. I definitely take it personal if people have a different opinion and then do not issue such respect towards the conversation that I believe they should. This is a fault of mine. I admit this. But this is not what we're talking about here. This has never been about having a different opinion. It's about being unable to read your comment and then you fucking calling me a racist for that, okay? So fuck off, honestly. You want to have a conversation? Let's get in Discord. Shoot me your Discord. Let me know when you're available. We'll get together. We can have whatever conversation you would like to have. We'll let you get your points out there. But yeah, this comment section was wild. And I really do feel like that is indicative of the healing that needed to be happening in this game the whole time. You can see how agitated some people are. Like, literally, I called that one guy out for being like a potential leaver and he just goes nuts, like posts like 50 comments in one day, right? It's obvious that it's working. I think this is exactly like if this happened in the game, if I challenged somebody for leaving a key in the game and they reacted that way, everybody in the chat and we'd be celebrating. We'd be like, yeah, it's working. This is exactly what we want to see happen. So yeah, Blizzard did a great job. They could have done nothing better in my eyes. They did an absolutely perfect job of handling this. It's working so much better than I could have ever imagined, and I'm very grateful for that, plus the free content. Stay tuned. We got another funny video on this kind of on this topic. Not really. It's a Mythic Plus dungeon where something like related to this kind of transpires. So thank you for watching. If you guys watch it all, I hope you enjoyed it. There's so many more comments. I could do another hour on this, but yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.